The Trump administration is rejecting accusations that at least one of its attacks on an alleged drug boat may amount to a war crime. The administration posted this clip back in September or of the September strike. At issue is this, a second attack a short time later, which killed 2 survivors of the initial strike. The White House now acknowledges that second attack did happen, insisting that attack was legal. So was it? Joining us now is Alberto Gonzales, who served as the U.S. Attorney General under President George W. Bush and is a fantastic person to discuss this with. Mr. Attorney General, thank you very much for being here. The basic question for Americans at home is whether the U.S. military killed 2 effectively defenseless survivors clinging to the side of a drug boat that had already been hit. If that story stands up, is that a war crime?
Yeah, I think that what we have here, we do have a conflict of a non-international nature. But the Geneva Convention applies even to these kinds of conflicts. And the rules are clear that if you've got someone who does not pose a threat and is defenseless, that to summarily execute them without any kind of due process would be a violation of armed conflict. So, yes, I think that there is some serious questions that are I think we all need to explore. And hopefully Congress and others will get to the bottom of to see exactly what happened. But the reporting would lead me to conclude that, yes, in fact, if the facts bear out as we currently understand, that there was a violation of armed conflict. Well,
Mr. Attorney General, this is a major question of presidential power, of the U.S.'s role in the Caribbean and all over the world. And so I think there's a lot at stake in finding out exactly what happened. You want Congress to take a look. Congress is taking a look. But what other entity is the Justice Department empowered to investigate something like this?
The Justice Department, I think, as an initial matter, will defer to the military justice. But in fact, the department may get involved in investigating what happened here. But we have to remember that the President of the United States controls the Department of Justice. And so whether or not there would be any kind of investigation or a thorough investigation by the Department of Justice in this matter, I think based on past experience, people have questions about that. I think, and the other thing to remember is the Supreme Court has made it very clear that in areas of military conflict, there's a great deal of deference going to be paid to the President of the United States as to whether or not what was the threat level, use of force on international waters. Yeah. Court is going to be very deferential. And so from my perspective, I think it's going to be public opinion. It's going to be Congress who's going to have primary responsibility in getting to the bottom of what happened here. And hopefully it will result in some kind of accountability. Now, why does this matter? Putting aside the politics, the reason it matters is because how we treat people that are helpless, that are defenseless, particularly in an armed conflict, we care about it. Why? Because someday we're going to have soldiers in that situation where they're helpless, they're defenseless. We want them to be protected by rules of engagement. And so the notion that Secretary Hegseth said recently about, we don't care, we want to be unshackled by rules of engagement, I think is extremely dangerous. Rules of engagement exist in large part to protect our soldiers in the event they find themselves in a situation where they're at the mercy of an adversary.
Yeah, can we look at the bigger picture here? Because Attorney General Pam Bondi has denied claims that she is operating at the president's direction, that the Justice Department is still an independent agency. Do you see it that way?
I don't. From my perspective, it appears that it doesn't appear to be so. But again, I always remind myself as the Attorney General, former Attorney General, I don't know what I don't know. Oftentimes, actions, decisions by the Department of Justice, by the leadership of the department, are based upon information that is classified, that is privileged. And so perhaps if I had the same kind of information, the same kind of priorities, the same kind of push by the White House, that I might make a different decision. It is true, though, I think it's pretty clear, that since Watergate, there's been an ethos at the Department of Justice to operate all investigations, to conduct all investigations and prosecutions independent from the White House. I had instances when I was the Attorney General, when I personally told President Bush, do not get involved in this ongoing investigation. It was consistent with the norms following Watergate. It protects the president from charges of political interference.
Mr. Attorney
and
General.
so I think that we're seeing something. I think the attitude, there's a difference today.
Mr. Attorney General, I'm sorry,
Yes.
the computer is going to take us off. Thank you very much.